Greetings, everyone. Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. Lots going on, people, so stick around. Make sure you send this link to everybody you know after it's over, please. If you know anybody in the UFO world, tell them, why don't you get a pair of balls and debate me? But here's the thing. I've been being kind of all kinds of weird things. I was put up on the black web. I lost everything. I lost all my half of my sites, trying to get them back. Anything you get from me, if it sounds stupid, if it's asking you a dumb question, definitely don't answer it. But I changed my phone number, changed my sites. I had to get rid of my Facebook accounts, my linked account. So people, if you hear anything, get anything from me, don't do anything stupid, like answer it if it says anything, any personal questions or anything like that, because I'm not directly sending anybody anything unless it's for people I know that I got hacked. So I was hacked about a week ago. I'm still trying to straighten it out. So on top of that, I almost lost the show today. I'm using Firefox. They came up with this big red screen and saying, "Well, who are you? What's the site?" I just X'd out of it, signed back in and stuff. So let's hopefully they won't attack me again during the show. But in the interim, the UFO world's going crazy. The people out there are just as bad. But I'm gonna introduce Tina, let her say hi and everything before we get into it today. Greetings, Tina.
Greetings, Tommy. Hello, everybody. Hello, John, in the chat room. Tina Bird here from Southampton in the UK. We didn't have a show last week. We do apologise. Things overtake us sometimes. And like Tommy said, we've had some problems and issues recently. I think the whole world's having problems with the internet. But I'm Tina Bird from Southampton here in the UK. And I'm my co-host, Tommy Hawksblood, who's in Hawaii. Like Tommy said before, everyone's jumped on the bandwagon now about UFOs, where they're from, who they are, and they seem to be abductees or experiences. I don't like that word. But they're coming out and saying things that me and Tommy have already said, and they're like, wow, this is new news, and did you know this, and this is happening. But this is something me and Tommy have been saying for years. So it's not really new news. But it's good. It's good because it means people are listening. Doesn't matter who's getting the word out now. People are listening and they're looking out. They are coming forward more. Excuse my cough. They are coming forward more. The government seem to be releasing more, and I do believe that they're having another Congress meeting. Is it in the United States? It's been a year, I believe, since the last public hearing about UFOs and the information being released. So anyone who does live in the States would love to hear a follow-up about that. I'm not sure what's happened about that, what the outcome has been. Here in the UK, we don't be getting a lot of world news recently, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. But if someone could let me and Tommy know, or at least let me know, just let us know on the show about what the outcome is. It's been amazing. Some of the things recently in this past few weeks that have come out in the UFO world. People are saying about abductees and what they've gone through, and we know that it's true. We know it's in origin intent. It's been origin intent for a few years, but they're coming forward more, and it's since been disclosed, I do believe, that human beings have died from being abducted, but they've been deliberately, it's been released, so they've been deliberately targeting humans. So I really want to know if that's come out at the hearing. But people should just ask questions, go out, do your research, look what's happening locally, speak to other people, see what's going on in your area, what is affecting you. Because if these things crash or come into your airspace, are they polluting your airspace? The air you're breathing? Are they polluting your water? Are they giving you radiation poisoning? Are they giving you cancer? These things you should be asking yourself and investigating. Everybody, no matter where you live, should be more aware of their environment. So that's one thing. But it's not all doom and gloom all the time. There are positive signs. And slowly, it seems in the last 2 years, we have made advancements, very small bits and pieces, but we seem to be streaming forward now. So there's hopefully we can draw a line under everything, move forward, and just get the best outcome possible for humanity, which hopefully is the truth and protection for all humanity. So hopefully our governments aren't selling us out, and they start protecting us. But we'd like to hear from you. Like John's already in our chat room. Please come on to our show. Tommy's going to put our email link up in a minute. Or come on, jump on the show, ask a question, please. Or ask a question of me and Tommy. Or if we don't know, we'll find an answer from somebody who does. So please ask away. But yeah, it's becoming harder and harder for people to hide things. More and more people are coming forward, especially from the military. I mean, they don't really need people from the military, but they do see to be believed more. There's more cases from the public, like James is it James Fox? His new film has come out. Phenomenon. So that needs to be watched. Very good filmmaker. Made a good documentary. There is more out there. So I believe there's more stuff out there, so just keep your eyes open, guys. Research. If you look on the right hand screen, Tommy's email's up on the right hand side now. Please come onto the show and speak to Tommy. So I'm just going to hand it back to Tommy. As a roundup, there's not a lot been going on. There's been a few sightings and maybe a few things in the sky, especially in the United States of America. But here in the UK, it seems to have gone quiet, which is unusual. But what I can say is loads of crop circles have appeared between me and Stonehenge, and I don't live far from Osselbury or Stonehenge, about 40 minutes away from where I live. So crop circles galore this year. So make of that what you will. But Tommy.
Greetings again. But let's start. I'm going to bring a couple names into the show today. I'm going to go hardcore. Tina can stay probably an hour, if you can stay as long as you can. But I will be going until I get done with everything I need to talk about today. I want to start off with the name Lou Elizondo. He's been in the UFO world as one of the top speakers for 2 years now. All he came out with was a Tic Tac, and in all his shows and everything he's doing, he went out with people from the Skinwalker Ranch. He went here, there, and everywhere. And what he's trying to say right now, most of the stuff out there is drones, which is the biggest lie that anybody could put out. I've been filming ships since I was involved with UFOs since I was 6 years old. Our government, our Russian government, Chinese government cannot do the things I saw happen. People, this is not like drones are everywhere now. Yeah, they're using drones. Even in Hawaii, they got a brand new giant drone that came in here, and they're testing it, dropping bombs on top of the mountain. So again, if you see something moving slow, it can be a drone. Ships usually don't travel too slow when they're close to us. Now, realize drones don't go up into the higher atmosphere, all right, which UFOs are definitely. So now I'm going to go into a bunch of things, people, but follow me. This is my life. I mean, I'm not a storyteller. I'm not on drugs. I'm not doing this for money. 80% of the people in the UFO world do what they do to make money, all right? I'm going to go after people. I join their sites and pay money, and they won't even talk to me. So it's useless to me. So I'm canceling all my sites that I'm paying to be in. All right. The Skinwalker Ranch, they're releasing really important things now. All right. They won't get back to me. I got one letter back from them saying, what do you really want to tell us? I said, important stuff. But they still won't get back to me. I have a friend that's friends with them, and he's supposed to give me their direct numbers and stuff. So I'll see what happens with that. But remember, Jesse Ventura was out for 2.5 years. He exposed many things. Near the end of his show, he brought a friend of mine on, Fred Bell. Fred Bell was working with Billy Meyer's alien friends, the Flea agents, on their ship and everything. All right. 2 days after he did the show with Jesse Ventura, he was in the hotel room and was found dead. All right. The people that I know, I'm talking over 16 people in the UFO world, were taken out, disappeared, put in jail, or put in a nut house. All right. 15 of them were taken out. All right. One person was in jail now. One person's in the nut house right now. One person was released from jail. So that's a story of people that have truth to try to bring it out. All right. Why am I still here? I have no clue. I just think they follow me because I talk to everybody in the UFO world, big or little names. But the problem is right now, with like getting back to this whistleblower and these people coming out. Whistleblowers come out 10 years, 20 years later. Why is that? If you discover something, it's important when it's discovered, not 25 years later, 50 years later. If it's important now, it's important now, not next year. They're afraid to come out. Why? Oh, well, they'd be laughed at, this, that, and everything. Well, then don't even think about releasing it, because all these whistleblowers coming out have very little proof. All right, which is sad. Now, I lectured with Sergeant 18 from 1996 to 2002. We met all the UFO people. We were involved with that. Stephen Greer was just making his name and all that kind of stuff. And I did, my friend did all the research on him, couldn't find any evidence in the hospitals he said he worked and all these other things. And suddenly he has a lot of money. But I'm not going to go into him yet. I want to get back to what's happening right now, because in 27 years ago, Sergeant 18 and I lectured for the Thunderbirds. They're a group of people around the United States that have planes, and they meet twice a year and have this big party. We lectured for them for 2 hours. At 11 o'clock at night, 50 of them were in line to tell us their stories about UFOs. 50 of them. All right, not one, not two. The line was going. We stayed there for about 2.5 hours, and we said, well, we really got to get back to Jersey. We were in New York State. And I said, we got to get back. So it was a long trip back. But we talked to as many people as we can. They all have incredible stories. Now, it was free. I won't say the word, sorry. Lou Elizondo goes, we need to talk to pilots and things like, oh, they're going to start asking people that really experience things. Well, how about like Sergio and I lectured around the United States. We showed pictures of real ships the whole time, not Tic Tacs. Nobody was concerned, and nobody will get in touch with us anymore. Well, I think Sergio might have been bought out by the government. He kind of disappeared, pulled out of everything. I'm still here. I can't show you all the pictures because he copyrighted everything. And suddenly he pulled everything offline. So I think another case of government interference. All right. I can go on like John Ford, who's in the nut house on Long Island. People, if you're in the UFO world, why aren't you trying to get him out? He shot the best video ever taken of a ship on the ground. Seriously, I saw it. He made 4 copies, sent them around the world. If he dies, it gets released. If he doesn't die, it doesn't get released. So they keep him. Somebody went onto a site now. Somebody's monitoring, just so you know, Tina. All right. So, you know, there's people around here. Oh, they shut off real quick. People, I'm not here to make money. Tina's not well, she's putting a book out. I hope she makes money. She deserves it. I mean, she doesn't have anybody on her side that can help her, that's really helping her right now. She's going to all these doctors and they're not helping her. But getting back to these people in the UFO world, I'm going to say Richard Dolan. All right. I've been paying for his site for about 6 months now. And I sent him maybe 8, 9 letters. Didn't reply to one. All right. I'm not going to pay for a site. And these people will not get back to me. Why should I? Everything you hear on Richard Dolan's site is what he thinks. I'm tired of hearing what people think. Everybody thinks whatever they want. Facts and proof and evidence is really important in the UFO world. Actual experience is the most important, like Tina and I. Richard Dolan has never been next to a ship, never been next to an alien. All these people that go on and on and on talking never even saw an alien. For real. So what good is their information? None. Now these whistleblowers coming out, oh, well, this experience, and I did all, he did this for 25 years and it's coming out now? Because, you know, if it's a lie, it changes and the story gets bigger and bigger in time for people that make up stories. All these whistleblowers coming out with this story and that story. Well, we don't need to know what the government did with weapons. Whitney Shriver's all over the internet now about that with George Knapp. George Knapp knows nothing about any of it. So here's the thing, people. Do you want to listen to storytellers? Stay on the sites that they talk on. Listen to them. We don't need to know what the government does. We don't need to know what the Army does because they are protecting the world and the United States. All right. If they told us everything that they knew, Russia would know it, China would know it, and we would be in a serious war right now. They don't know the weapons we have. Not at all. When they release this UFO, but our UFO, by the end of the year or into the middle of next year, it's going to blow everybody away because it's going to be the most deadliest weapon on the planet. And they admitted it. It cost $40 billion already. So people, things are changing. In the United States, Oh, sure, Congress is having meetings right after one another, and they're all questioning this and that. But they're still trying to say that a UFO is a real UFO. They're not talking about the aliens. They're not talking about what they're doing. And all these speakers and stuff, well, nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows why they're here. Well, they have no clue. They shouldn't be in the UFO world talking about it then. Tina knows 1,000 times more than anybody else in the UFO world. I know just as much. And people rather listen to this great storyteller telling you a bunch of lies than hear what's really happening. They're not good. All right, even if there's a good race of aliens, they can't overpower the bad ones. The bad ones are working with our government and Russia. China's more concerned about making more people to create armies. I don't know how much they're dealing with aliens. I mean, they went to the moon, so they have a base on the moon. I don't think they were friends with them because it was like how many. A whistleblower came out last week said there's 1.5 million people on the moon. All right, you want to listen to these whistleblowers? Go right ahead. Are they helping you and me? Are they telling you what aliens are really doing? How do they find that many people to the moon? What are they doing up there? What are they eating? What's their main course? How do they clean themselves? What kind of stuff is going on up there? All right, people. Do you want 1.5 million people? Guess there's got to be a lot of food there, and a lot of things going on. And then let's not even talk about Mars. How many races are on Mars and all that stuff? I mean, people, you hear stories and they sound great. Watch the movies. The only movie I tell people to watch, well, two. The Day the Earth Stood Still. Because if aliens were really helping us, they would do that. And V, the movie, the series on TV, because it was on for 6 months. And this alien, all these ships were above the planet saying they're helping us, taking people up and healing them, while they were creating eggs and growing a bunch of their army here. All right. When anything sounds too nice, it usually is not nice or good. And that's a fact. So if aliens come here, oh, we're going to help you. Help you what? Now, I said this once before. I was friends with somebody from MJ12. And they were going to give us honey that heals every disease and sickness on this planet. That person's dead. All right. So, people, the truth's out there. But do you want to listen to the people telling you the truth? Or do you want to listen to people making up stories? I listened with TJ Morris for 12 years. She had a couple people on there, and the one person on, I'm not going to say her name, her story got better and better and better every year. So she was on the ship, and the big king alien on top of the ship looked like Jabba the Hutt from Star Trek or Star Wars. And she went on and carried her like a surfboard with her arm, and the story just gets more dramatic. All right. See, a lie keeps changing. The truth does not. Tina's story is not changing. My story is not going to change. But listen to these other people and what they say. All right. Now, let's get into evidence. But I'm going to let Tina talk for a little while because I don't want to hog up the whole show either, but I will get into it later. Sorry, Tina.
No, that's okay. I mean, recently I've had some questions and people ask you stuff and they're like, oh, is it real? Yes, of course it's real. It is happening. It does happen and has happened. And then they're astonished and then they want to say, well, I'm in your camp. I'm like, what camp is that? Abductees are the silent victims in this, and the government needs to own up a bit, I think, and take some responsibility for that. But most of all, they need to protect the human race. Our planet is precious. We are precious. Our animals and birds are precious. They need to take more responsibility and do more things. That's where the side I'm coming from. They've done whatever they've done to get us here and whatever they're doing now, but it needs to stop. If they can't stop these people, these races, the questions they should be asking are like, who is doing this? Origin intent. That's been their line all along. Fair enough. Who else is doing this? Who is allowing them to do this? Who is assisting them to do this? Why are they doing this? And why, more importantly, they're doing it to us? Is it because we send messages out to the universe, Voyager 1 and 2, or was it before that, when we send radio signals out? Or have we done this to ourselves? They should be the first main questions. Secondly, the repercussions, outcomes, the cost to the human race, what it's medically and physically doing to us and our world, and the cost to our plants and animals. third question is, how do we stop this? How do we talk to these beings and tell? I mean, I'm telling you now, they don't give a monkeys about us. But if you want to go ahead and talk to them, then good, fine. But they don't care about us. So if they don't care about us, they don't care about our environment. And if they don't care enough to ask about and the damage they do to our environment and biological human beings, i.e., like me, then is it worth us talking to them? Are we at war? Are we victims of war? Are we victims of not being able to defend ourselves? So we need to find our place in all of that. And we need to start on an even playing field. If the government expects us to stand up and pay taxes, go to war, help other countries, they need to help their taxpayers, their citizens in their own country first. Then when they need to stop all these wars and bickering and in-house fighting within our planet. They haven't even managed to do that. They can't get everyone around the same table. They're worse than school children. So where to take it from there? If you can stand up for others, you should. But you should do it on a higher platform. Well, we're at a peak, a precipice, if you like. In our timeline in humanity, we're at the point where everyone's expecting disclosure. Disclosures happen when they choose to take a human being or choose to come within contact, i.e. touching range, taking you. That is contact. That is disclosure, because they're telling you they're there. They're showing you they're there. They're doing things to you. They're putting you back. And there should be other, further, harder and faster questions and answers available. They've had many, 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 many years now. Every government has. Not just about sweeping under the carpet until they can no longer, and there's bulges underneath the carpet. They need to do like spring clean completely, come out, hold their hands up and move forward. That's all everyone's asking. All this pointing and blaming, all we defences because we don't know what we're dealing with. We do know what you're dealing with because you've been back engineering for years. You've had bodies, you've had crashes, you've had sightings, witnesses, you've had all this for many years. You've either had invitations, they've landed, they've spoken to people, they know what's going on. So we can't be trusted with the truth. We can always be trusted with bad news and the bill, and cleaning up after people and living with the consequences, because that's all we do. That's part of humanity. That's what we're doing right here, right there, every single day. Not quite sure what's going on outside. Every single day, that is what we're doing. So why do we just get the bad bits? Why don't we get the information and decide for ourselves, and then ask our appointed government figures to do what we want and get the answers to questions we want and deserve and rightfully pay for and rightfully vote for? That is how it's supposed to work in society. How can society work today when they're ignoring taxpayers, ignoring victims, ignoring what you say? They're taking money from us to do what we ask. They're just taking money for us and just are they exploiting us? Are they in cahoots with them? I can understand where conspiracy theories come from. People say you're a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. I'm an abductee. That's the difference. A conspiracy theory is a theory that someone's thought up, they think is happening, or they don't have the evidence to back it up, or what have you. I am not that. I don't believe. I know, and that is the difference. So the difference is I am an abductee, not a conspiracy theorist. Tommy, I can see you now. They can see I've just seen the picture. So, that's the difference between me and Tommy. We're not conspiracy theorists. We're abductees, and that's the difference.
Just before I go into something else, but conspiracy theories are only people that have a little bit of following. Not that they're right or wrong. They're a theory because only a few people believe what they're saying. Whether they have the truth or not doesn't matter. So conspiracy theory is just giving the people that they don't like what they're saying. So it's not like it's a bad thing or a good thing.
Well, we don't have theories. We're abductees. That's what I'm saying. We know. There's a difference between believing. Yeah, there's a difference between believing and knowing.
We're not trying to convince people of a theory, all right, which most people are. I want to bring up a name, all right. I'm going to be doing a show this week on the Constitution, all right. But basically, George Washington, all right. I did a whole 2 years where he had his headquarters in New York City, I don't want to get into it in detail on that, but basically he actually was doing remote viewing. They made a big thing of that over the past 20 years.
Mm.
He did it in 19. He did it way back then.
I think
All right.
Richard Dolan's wife, Tracy Gubbins, she's into all that and does that and give lectures on that
But
because I've
see,
seen her talk.
what I'm trying to say is he came up with prophecies, the same as Billy Myers came up with prophecies. He didn't admit that he was working out with aliens, but he probably was. All right. But what I'm saying is the Constitution is way beyond what anybody wants to relate to it. It's not about good rights for good people and all that. It's a big lie. Everything about it's a lie. I'm going to go into detail about every aspect. Now, I knew where Aaron Burr died. I was going to the Juma mansion where he died. He killed Hamilton. He was brought up on murder charges and then he disappeared. And see, that was going on then. All right. While at the same time, they're writing the Constitution about our freedom while they were killing Native people daily. All right. You're talking about mass murderers, rich mass murderers that didn't respect the poor people, writing a bunch of laws. And we live by that. Thomas Jefferson, also a native killer, came up with we have to have the right to go against our government. And guess who changed it? Mr. Bush, when he was president, after 9/11 happened, he said, which went against the patriotic bill, you're either for us or you're a terrorist. They renamed 450 organizations in the United States as a terrorist group. So what kind of control of mind and what's really going on there? A lot. But I'll get into that. But basically, we are controlled by aliens, people, whether you want to admit that or not. Since Atlantis, and I'm talking a long time back, the aliens work with the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Aztecs. They programmed with a bunch of bull stories, people. If you analyze what they talk about, what they show, even the hieroglyphics are all wrong. People, aliens are not here to help us. Tina is one of the most important examples of that right now. But I was working with women in the 70s that lost their children 8.5 months pregnant. So, and I wasn't making money. I wasn't writing books on it. I was helping them get through the situation. You know, something like that happens, your life's changed forever. It'll never come back to normal. Tina's life will never be the same. Mine will never be the same. If you have an experience, you're not a bull storyteller or trying to make money on it and stuff. No, you're trying to get the truth out, what really went down. What went down with Tina is horrible. I had a horrible bunch of experiences when I'm lucky I was protected in my own way. But people that get abducted daily now, they're not protected and they don't get help. And like Tina says, well, the government's not helping them, the medical department's not helping them. There's no funds coming in for them. What's the help? There is none. You go to war and kill people and you get money. Why is that? See, our system is so screwed up right now. And I mean, even Putin admits he's working with aliens. And if he came out and said it to his government, to his people as a government, right? And the United States said the same thing. I was involved with two of the top speakers in the UFO world years ago. And he said he was working with 27 alien races, and so did Putin. So they're working together, people, whether you want to know that or not, Russia and the United States. We had two major wars in space, all right? But what's it have to do with China and what's happening here? We're so programmed in the horrible things and taking away our food, taking away our money. We don't know what the government's doing. Why do you think it's such a big thing to get to other planets and all these spaceships being built and everything? They know they brought a lot of toxic to this planet and we're radioactive. I mean, Tina's an example of that. All right, we'll get into that. I know everybody says, well, where's the radiation? Somebody needs a hug? Well, you got it. All right. People, you know, where Tina is, where I am, it's hard to be around other people. People don't want to hear the truth.
No.
The second you get into, oh, no, that's too much for me. You're living in hell. Maybe you should realize that. There's not
And a lot of
really...
people say, I had, when I was doing my last lecture, a lot of people said, why didn't you speak out when you're younger? Who do you speak out to? You don't want to frighten your parents. There is no FBI in England. There's no, there's nothing like that. There's no one to report abduction to. There's no one that's going to believe you. And back in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s, even today, you find it very hard pushed to make an abduction report in the UK. There's nowhere to report it. I went to David Hodrin. He's one of the best in the UK, and he's the chairman of Birmingham UFO Group and the deputy vicar, Gary Heseltine, who is in charge of. I had a lot of things. That's the least of my problem at the moment, John. But people don't need to understand the life consequences. So it's not that you can't come forward. There's no recourse. There's no recourse for abductees. There's no recourse for abductees in the UK. There's no help. There's no outreach help. There's no backup help. There's not a hotline. There's not a phone line. There's nowhere you can go. There's not a telephone number anywhere. There's not an email address anywhere. There's no direct help from the government in the UK. So we have all these private groups that say, yes, they only look into military things. They don't look into public things. They're not aware. They don't want to know public health and safety. They don't want to know, these crimes against the public. Unless you're at war and it's going to be headlines, they don't want to know. I'm a tax-paying citizen in this country. I've worked all my life, and I feel totally gut-wrenched for the next generation, let alone the survivors of abduction today. And that's true survivors, not airy-fairy stories. I mean, true survivors. And you're not going to get many of them because a lot of them die of cancer because of their contact. And lots of people have had the same health issues I have. So, the governments need to do more. And that's why I'm kind of coming from. I came forward for help and medical help for my partner, and that's the reason I came forward. And I came forward to the UFO world, not to the government, not to the NHS, not to my GP. There's no one in that system that is set up for failure. No one in that system that you could go into. There's no safe haven anywhere. So people don't come out. To what? To what help? You name me help you can get today. You can't even get help today, let alone 30, 50, 40, 25, 10, 50, even 5 or 2 years ago. There's still no help today here in the UK. So I'm in the UK Watch. Okay, so you're listening for the UK. So what do you do in the UK watching? Is that just watching for UFOs? And whereabouts are you?
She's just watching the show.
Right, okay.
But here's the thing.
Okay, right.
I want to tell you. See, the world in the United States, I can't describe every other country because I'm not there. But in the United States, the bad, serious, dangerous things, they don't get involved with. Abduction, sexual abuse, rape, and those kind of words. Pain. Those things are kind of like limited and pushed aside. They don't want to help the people, is what I'm saying. The people, and they just admitted about 80% of the United States is in depression. So they don't want to help that. All these people in pain, they don't want to make a medicine that cures the pain either. All right. They want to make sure that they suffer and pay medicine, buy medicine, support the big corporations, which control everything we're doing right now. And they control the world as well. People, we're here to help you understand a little bit about life, how long you're going to live. It's not going to be a long time. 125 years if you live the full max of your time frame. It's not a long time. Especially after 80, it starts going downhill. But in the interim, you'll see everybody you know die. And do you want to see that? Now, the government doesn't care about middle class and poor people.
We're numbers.
Aliens do not either. No. They don't need 8 billion people to live on. All right? Nobody does. And we're going to hit that this year, believe it or not. So people, we're talking about people like you and me, that should be working and trying to get to the truth, trying to bring it out. Now, if all the people that were middle class and poor went against the Constitution, went against the White House, and bring the laws back to the people, which Thomas Jefferson created a bill that we have the right to defend ourselves as people, not like Bush.
That's just in the States. In the UK, that doesn't seem to be quite true. And again, the United Nations don't really hold that true either. I recently wrote a few weeks ago now to the United Nations. I sent them a lovely email and nothing, not even nothing. So they leave it a few weeks because obviously busy with other things. Even as, there's wars going on. I understand there is a priority, but there's different departments for everything. But they find time to write up all these laws, who they think's in charge, why they think they're in charge, what they think they should do, but they can't answer a taxpayer citizen of the world. with a genuine problem.
Well, I hate to interrupt you, but you said you like Trump. You don't know much about Trump. He pulled us out of the United Nations because he didn't believe in global warming or any of the things that they support. He's against it. All right. Biden brought us back into it. People, we're a bunch of people being directed by who and why. We should be protected and living by our own realization of how we should live in our own home, which we don't even have the right to do. Aliens
This is
don't.
it. This is it. I think across the world, even if you look at Brazil's a very good case, or other countries. So people in their own country, Africa's a brilliant case. You got people living in gold mansions and people living on the streets with carry bags. People need to wake up. Never mind all this environmental rubbish and everything else and what we're doing and all these different rights for different people that don't exist. What I'm saying is look after the people here and now that are paying these taxes. What kind of life do they have by living by these rules? They're getting no reward. They're not being listened to. They're not being cared for. They're not being looked after. We do not have good keepers. We do not have good shepherds. Who is looking after our shepherds? Who is telling them, get on and look after your sheep? Because here in the UK, that is not the case. That is not happening. And I've looked around the world. I can't be pointing fingers at the UK government. Every single government is getting worse.
Tina, in the United States, the poor people pay more taxes than the rich people, which should be a scary thing for people because, you know, the more money you have, the more tax you should pay. It's kind of common sense, or it should be normal morality, morals, but it isn't. Now, let's get back to a few more people in the UFO world. All right. You know, I wanted to bring out a few names which are causing us serious problems in the UFO world right now. But let's start with, I mean, Whitney Shriver, Tina's friends with. I'm not going to go into him too much, but George Knapp, he got his fame from Art Bell. Art
He
Bell,
wrote to me. I wrote George Knapp. George Knapp wrote to me. I sent him an email with pictures, and I said, "I'm not sure it was something to do with what you said about Skinwalker Ranch or something." And I sent him some pictures of some UFOs here in the UK. He said, "I'm not sure what they were, but they're wonderful. But thank you for writing." He actually got back to me, so thank you, George Knapp. Tommy, sorry.
well, all right. You know, see, nobody likes me, Tina. They're afraid of
Oh, they didn't like
debating
me,
me.
Tommy. Don't worry about it.
No, no, you're famous. You're going to be, like I said, if you can get the book out, you'll be making it to the top because
Infamy is nothing.
wait,
You need
nobody
to make
has
change.
your story, Tina,
Yeah,
and
they
your
don't know the
story is
truth.
important, much more than all these other people. Well, I was abducted and they took me out for dinner. Really, we need the truth out there, and these people, getting back to these people like Art Bell. Art Bell had the #1 radio station on the planet. He brought people on. He brought Linda Moulton Howe on all the time. Another loser, but that's besides the point. We have Sean David Morton, a good friend of mine. He was on his show every month. All right. And then he was arrested, put in jail, just got out. He was almost killed in jail. Not by the people in jail, but again, people, the truth's here. I know a lot of it. Tina knows a lot about more being inside a ship and all the other things as well. Do you want to hear it? Or do you want to hear these people go on and on about, well, the good aliens are going to help us, or the good aliens are going to do this? There are none. They're not helping us.
Sorry, just stop there. So the next person that says good aliens, I want them to just answer one question. Have they been in close proximity to a real alien? What is their cancer status? What treatment have they had? And what infections have they had? Because I've had so much treatment and cancer, and I'm undergoing lung cancer tests as we speak this week. So, and they do know. In 2010, a report came out to say that you have detrimental health the second a ship is near you or one of these beings is near you. You get radiation burns, you get brain damage. There's a whole list of stuff that they come out with that abductees get. Not to mention we have all of them, but if we're getting them and the government knows about it and they're keeping files on it, why the hell ain't they treating us? Why aren't they treating it? Why did they come with a public health warning? All these young girls and boys they're taking, sperm and ovum, like they did for me when I'm younger. Are they sterilising humanity? What further as a mother or father, you go out there and see all the kids playing, and you think, well, hold on, the aliens took them last week. How are they now? Or they're drinking or swimming in the sea. The aliens crashed there a few weeks, months, or years ago. What damage is being done? They're not looking at the bigger picture here.
I could go into some stories that are pretty important, but I don't want to lose our show today. But realize when the Gulf War was happening, and when they brought people back to the United States, only 3 came back. And I was in the person's house, was one of the last people to get on a plane to leave because the ocean was black. It was raining black rain for 6 months there after they blew up the oil well and all those things were happening. Do you hear much about it when they came back? The 3 people were actually, I won't say any words, but something really dramatic happened to the 3 people that came back. They got a lawsuit against the government, and that was the end of everything. People, there's a battle going on, and why are we fighting with ourselves and fighting with aliens? I mean, take a pick. Who would you rather fight with, aliens or people on our own planet?
If the human race truly knew what was up in that sky above us and faces us, I think we need to cooperate more. People would certainly have a different mindset. Never mind all these people would see the truth for themselves. I think people need to really, truly wake up to what's going on. Don't wait for a government to tell you it's sunshine when it's really midnight. You know what I mean? So people need to stop the fight and stop the killing, and we need to move on as a human race. Stand together to overcome what's coming. People just can't see what's happening.
Well, what I wanted to tell you is, like, just on the news last night, they were talking about the balloons that came over the United States. Realized they only proved one was a real balloon, all right?
Right, yeah. They never said
the other 4, one came over Hawaii. It was a ship. Everybody saw it here. It was on the news. And it wasn't a balloon, people. So when they say a balloon, and then they were talking, say, well, China said they accidentally, or Russia, they don't know who really wanted the balloon to go over. So they knew what was happening, and they didn't shoot it down, which is our fault as well.
So there may be weather balloons out there. No one's denying that. Weather balloons have been manufactured and seen all over the world for thousands of years, these weather balloons. Well, so I'd like to see the manufacturing cost for that for thousands of years. But more importantly, Russia, China, England, I'm not sure if Germany does, and a few other countries are actually disclosing public figures to how many UFOs they've had encounters and incidents, and they have got a shoot down list now. I think America or China has 5. Russia has, I think, 3 or 4 now. So these countries are disclosing what they're shooting down. They're saying that they're shooting unidentified flying objects down. They have a list. So if aliens aren't real,
we got to separate one thing here for people in the UFO world. UFOs, aliens, and dimensional beings.
Yeah.
There's a big difference there, people.
Yeah.
George Washington said he was working with 7 angels. All right. Now, I wasn't there. I can't say. But he was into remote viewing. So he was given abilities that most people didn't have in those time frames. He used it to spy over the army on the other side. That's why he didn't lose. But people, he made a prophecy of World War I, World War II, and what was going to happen in the future after that. All right. Now, why do aliens tell people what's going to happen? Billy Myers was given 100 prophecies in 1950. 89 of them came true.
They told me we was going to have a war. Well, and they said that's even documented in 2017. They said it would start when it would start, and it would last till 2 years, 2024 to 2026.
Well, we're really close to there. I mean, no matter what people say, people don't respect people. How can we move forward? If we respect each other, we could be an incredible nation. Aliens don't want us to be good, all right? If they wanted us to be all these things, they'd help us.
United we stand, divided we fall. They don't want us getting on together.
Well, that's why the Constitution was taken from the Native people. They explained the theory of uniting the 5 nations to fight because alone they were losing. They were getting slaughtered every which way. Well, they still did. But by the same token, they figured if they got together as a group. Thomas Jefferson, who was working on freedom for individuals that fought against the government because of that, also was going around killing Native tribes. So all this stuff is coming from mass killers, people. Do you understand that? None of them were peace, loving, compassionate people. I mean, go back to Jesus. They were not loving, compassionate people then. We have never been compassionate in the past 100,000 years, people. Seriously. Every war, all about the little wars, about the aliens that were killed, race after race that just was taken off of the planet. People, do you want the truth? Now, they're admitting there's giants here, all right? Which there are, obviously. I mean, Bigfoot was brought here as well, and it's real. I was next to one. All these things, people, that people still doubt. Why doesn't the government at least confirm a Bigfoot? Because you know why? They'll go out and kill him. They want a dead body of one, and then they'll show everybody they have one. I'll tell you this. In 1900, in New York City, the museum was opening up in New York City, and they had a Bigfoot there. The day that it was supposed to open, it was burnt down. All right. So, there was always an underlining secret movement to stop the truth from coming out. And I'm going to take it a little bit step further. Tesla worked with an alien race. He was given one of the most dangerous things that ever came to this planet called time travel. And people said, well, why don't we go back? Like John wrote, why don't we go back and stop something from happening? Because when you change history, you change reality. And realize this, if we have the ability to change time, aliens had it thousands of years ago. So you have two people, one wants to make the world better, the other one wants to make it worse, and they keep going back in time. The world gets screwed up every which way. It's a device that should not be.
Just to answer John's question, it says the one hypnosis said alien children are here on vacation. John, let me paint this picture for you. I'm quite an outspoken, loud, very big female. Very determined. Now, when you cross me, going for a change of life at the moment, with an alien species, okay? Now, they've taken out bits of whatever they wanted from me and put them in my shell. They've taken these babies and embryos off millions of years wherever to another planet. Now, if they're anything like me, and they are, when they've had enough there, or don't like being dictated to, or thinking something's better off somewhere else, they get on a little plane or space shuttle or interdimensional ship, whatever they're doing, and fly across the universe and cause havoc. What if they turn on the beings that did this? And more importantly, what happens if those children show up here and they are peed off? Who is protecting us from them? Who is legally responsible for them? And if they cause havoc in the universe, who is liable for that? Are they going to look like the human beings because they look like us? Or are they going to look like these beings that created them? They don't come with a name tag, or I was made in Earth by, I don't know, the little grey or little white beings. So if they, like you said, they come here on vacation, or they're here on vacation or whatever, who's going to take ultimate responsibility for that? Nobody's asking these questions. It's all right saying, I've been... It's like people need to take things and look at the whole bigger picture across the board. Abduction has opened a whole worm of cans, but from what I've seen, people don't have a clue. When they come forward and talk and they said that they've seen things or done things, you can tell genuine people. And these things, people should be asking these things, direct questions, no messing about, and there should be answers. More importantly, we should be prepared. If they've been doing this, I mean, I'm 52 now. If they've been doing this for me for 50 years, and there's been thousands, millions of people, I've seen hundreds of people up there, hundreds of other people up there. And they've been doing this for thousands of years with the human race. Surely we're at that precipice where some of these beings are going to start coming back to this planet. What defense do we have against that? Against our own half-breed kind of thing? They know everything there is to know about us. What defense do we have about that? And the questions we should be looking at is, who's allowed them to do this to us? Who is doing this? Why is they covering up? Why are they not helping us? If they're good, all these good intentioned beings, why aren't they coming forward and telling us this? Why are they leaving a population with cancer, with burn marks, and in terror? People die from being abducted. Where is their compassion? Where are the answers? So there's a lot of things to go on, but it is that time in the show. I was suffering from a bit of radiation burns a few years ago, and I thought Tommy was taking the mickey out of me. And he asked me to get a Geiger counter. So I went onto Amazon at the time. It was about £18-20. This is my second one, by the way. I think I dropped the first one in some tea or water. I'm just turning it on. So if you're going to Amazon, that's it there. That's it there. And
Yeah,
it is electrical magnetic radiation tester. Now, if I hold it to the screen, it doesn't normally go off at the screen. Well, the seconds I hold it closer to me, you'll see it starts going up. So, but I have a smart screen TV computer, and it shouldn't be doing anything. It normally doesn't register anything near the computer screen. Now, the top is volts per meter. As you see at the top there, volts per meter, and the bottom is micro testers. That's what the symbols are there. Now, Tommy's going to get his. So when this thing beeps, and it's at the bottom here at the moment, it's just saying safe. When it beeps, it will beep red, and the second it beeps red, it means it's picking up something. This should not be picking up anything at all. Normally it doesn't until it gets to beep. So we're going to give this a go. So that little red, the beep, and don't forget, if this is picking up electrical magnetic radiation. So when this says harmful, I'll get it on harmful. When it says harmful, the problem with that is it is a harmful dose that you're admitting, and it seems to
Tina,
yes.
I want to tell you, I got my little Geiger counter on your face right now, and it's on 60 on the bottom on mine right now. All right, I don't know if I can get it to.
Yeah, I can see it beeping.
All right, I'm picking up radiation from Tina over the internet, people. Completely impossible. I never get it. I don't get it anywhere else on my screen, but I go directly over her face, and it's at 50, right? 67.
now, that's holding it away from me. Now I'm going to come back.
People, I have a scientist friend. I asked him to help me with this because something's wrong. I mean, it shouldn't be happening the way it is. She goes up and down in radiation. Radiation stays there for a year. It doesn't fluctuate unless you're talking about CERN, which it's only active when the machine's on. But radiation stays there, and it's going up and down on her. Once in a while, she comes on and she has no radiation on the screen. But what I just did, taking my little meter, putting it on her face, and getting radiation on my Geiger counter is impossible. People, if you know any scientists out there that are not controlled by the government or some other weird person that might want to at least give me feedback on that, please do. I remember when I told Tina to get a Geiger counter, I said she has all the symptoms of radiation poisoning, which she does, and she's going through all these horrible things, and nobody's helping her, people, and nobody cares. You think scientists would want to know, understand what I just did and said. All right, be the first person to come out and say it, admit it, or try to do something about it. She could die from radiation poisoning. Nobody cares. I mean, her poor dog died of radiation burns in its bones. And I'm not sure if they abducted her dog with her or not. That's a possibility, but I'm sure she doesn't know. She's supposed to have a regression done with the hypnotist, which we need to do. I wish I could be there.
Apparently, they haven't had contact with him. They can't find him.
We need to get you a different person then, Tina. Somebody that will work.
He never came back. We can't get hold of him.
We'll do it live. This way nobody could say it's fake. We'll have two people witnesses there as well.
I think when I have it done, when they do find someone, they're going to record it. There's going to be a few people there recording it, which is.
But we need, people that do hypnosis have no clue what they're dealing with, especially when it comes to aliens, UFOs, demons, entities. All of them exist, people. And when you hypnotize somebody, they're open to all of that. People don't understand that yet. Scientists don't want to get into that. All right, I've been in it all my life. I was doing Ghostbusting at 16 years old in New York City, in Jumeau Mansion, where Samuel Jumeau was killed. George Washington built the headquarters. People, there's so many things happening between interdimensional beings, aliens, and the word angels and guides and all that. It's all there. And if you don't want to believe any of it, I'm sorry. You don't. You just reincarnate over and over in this planet and not know that something's really going on outside of what you think you know. All right. These UFO people have no clue to half of the truth or even a third of the truth. They know what people say. And All the UFO people I met at least 1,000 abductees in my lifetime. I worked with at least 1,000, I'm saying. But very few of them, when I was younger, they were all losing their children, and that's who I was working with. But rather, over the past 25 years, most abductees changed from being abductees to experiences, and it's a great experience now. The most ridiculous thing happened in the UFO world, and nobody's fighting it. Oh, they're an experiencer. Oh, yeah, I had a great experience. They gave me a gold brick. Where is it? Let's see something good come out of anything they say. And when Stephen Greer, who's my worst enemy on this planet, comes out and says he wants to train people to talk to the aliens and go on a galactic
You don't know what
federation,
you're doing. Don't do it.
we don't need to talk to aliens. They don't want to help us, or they would. And it's not like we're not ready. We've been ready a long time ago. We're destroying more and more daily. All right. When food was healthy, when water was clean, when the air was clean, they could have helped us keep it that way. But no, we're the most toxic we have ever been, and it's not getting better, people. Do you understand where we are in this world today? Tina, how long are you going to stick around? You got to go?
A couple more minutes. Yeah, I'm going to go in a minute. I'm just reading the last comment from Amy. So
No, you got to promote your books first. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
well,
Answer the question too.
Yeah, so thank you, Amy. If you need to contact me, just message me. So I wrote a book called The Guardians of the Light and Brotherhood of the Night. There's a copy of it there, just to let you know that I've been Prince Harry and top picks on Amazon. So if you'd like to get my book, there it is there. #1 in top pick chart. So go ahead and get that. I also did write a little romance, very saucy. I'll just put my piece of paper, my picture. Called The Checkpoint. That's on Amazon. You can find that. Guys, go to YouTube, look up Tina Bird or T.A. Bird Encounters, and you'll see that my last lecture is actually on there. Click like and subscribe. Make sure that you're registered on YouTube. Please watch it. You'll learn something. If you've got any questions, please contact me or Tommy, or leave messages or contact me on YouTube. Please watch it. You'll find it. It's on there. It's about I think it's about an hour long, but it's worth watching. For me, I'm going to say goodbye from here in Southampton, in the UK. Please keep looking out. Please just keep talking to each other, finding your own information. And I'm speaking with Tommy Hawksblood in Hawaii. But for me, Tina Brady in Southampton. Bye-bye, John. Bye, Amy. And I'll speak to you all later. See you next week, guys. Take care. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Tina.
Bye.
Stay safe. Stay safe. All right, people. Tina Bird, great person. One of the most realist people I met in the UFO world as far as abductees and experiences. All right. She's not an experiencer. She's an abductee. Big difference. All right. I want to get into a couple names. Like I said, she's friends with a lot of people. She's getting involved in the UFO world, speaking and things like that. They won't do me. I was from 1996 to 2002 at Sergeant 18. But the global sciences broke up, and then we stopped lecturing, and we kind of separated friendship for a while. We got back. We did Kerry Cassidy's show for 9 months. And then we had another fight and separated again. But kind of think he sold out to the government. He always said he would. If they gave him money, he said he would always leave the UFO world. Not like Stephen Greer, claiming they offered him $3 billion. So, he could have said $3 million or even $300,000. It would have been better than saying $3 billion. Why would they offer one man $3 billion? They could take him out for $100 or even $1,000. And the people in the government take people out because it's their job. So people, listen to these liars. All right. Stephen Greer can't tell you one good thing they ever did for the human race, because they didn't. I can tell you many things because I'm aware of my past lives all the way back to Atlantis. And when they destroyed Atlantis, they taught the human race how to kill and eat animals. All right. And sacrifice and all the other words we started doing later on. And then when aliens started working with the Egyptians and the Mayans, if you understand anything about reincarnation and things like that, you would see everything the aliens fed the Egyptians were lies. What they did to the bodies and everything else all along the way were all twisted lies they fed the Egyptians. And they believed it. And they did these horrible things to the body and all that stuff, thinking that they can reincarnate and everything else in that body, which never will happen. People, I've been involved with so many different things all my life. Now, I just told, I invented, per se, when I was young. I started hypnosis when I was 12, was doing my whole neighborhood, hypnotizing them at 14. I came up with past life regression when I was 19. All right, now a woman that died, I'm not gonna say her name, claimed she invented it. She did not, because I already had the cards made and was doing all my friends and helping them with that as well. Because the word was missing time when I was young, because most people didn't know anything about abduction. And they would just use the word, well, I woke up and it was 4 hours later. We were sitting in the car. I was in court going against the phone company for 2 years. And I was involved with UFOs, and the attorney, the other attorney for the phone company, tried to say I was hurt on a UFO, just so that they didn't have to agree with me getting hurt on the job. So a year and a half later, the judge says, I need to speak to you after. And then he let everybody in the courtroom out. And I'm talking about the judge. Now, the phone company has the best lawyers in the United States. So as they all walked out of the room, he said to me, can you show me some pictures? And I brought him pictures the next time I went to court. But in the interim, he turns around and said to me, well, he was in a car with his wife. They were driving down this road, and this light beam came over the car, and then they lost a bunch of hours. All right, this is the lawyer for the court case. So people, it's happening. It's been happening. Now, those kind of people can't come out publicly, all right, because they lose their credibility, and then obviously they lose making money, and everything else starts happening. When Roswell happened, all right, here's a black and white couple that wasn't accepted at that time frame come out and say they were abducted. It took a lot of courage for them to do that, especially when they weren't accepted as a couple, never mind coming out with the most bizarre story ever told at that time to the average person. So it's not the most important UFO story, though. And the UFO world, Steve keeps talking about that. I can tell you the one I wasn't involved with directly, but the other one I was. The most important two stories, nobody talks about them. I'm talking the most important UFO story that happened in the United States, people. And it had to do with Tesla. But no, they rather believe in experiences coming out. Oh, they're good people. They're going to what? What are they going to do for us? Take us on a ship. What do you think they would take somebody from planet Earth on a ship to go to another reality? To do what? Another universe, another galaxy. All right, second of all, and I'm going to tell you something very few people can talk about. The average body cannot travel in a ship faster than a certain speed. Einstein didn't get into it. I mean, he says we go in a spaceship in time, you gain time and all that. But basically, we can't travel faster than a certain speed, or the body breaks down. Now, there were 4 scientists. I can't say their names. They go to an island, and they work there. They're taken to a planet twice a year. All right? But they're injected, and they're put in a spacesuit that protects them. All right. So when you get abducted on a ship, they're not taken to the universe, to their planet, and see their city and all that kind of stuff. Like Corey Good, his things were all visions that they put in his brain. Now, on a spiritual level, which I don't get into when Tina's here, soul is separate from this mind. You can program mind, but you can't program soul. I'm protected because I'm so aware. It's called self-realization. All right. God realization is the next thing. All right. So when you're in a state and I can't be hypnotized. All right. As well as drugged, unless I want to be, which I don't. So here's the thing, people. When you go to these conferences and pay money, and you're going to spend anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 to go to a conference, to hear a bunch of people talk about somebody's so-called experience or what they see and what they think, how much proof do they ever offer? I can tell you, a friend of mine had a conference with 127 doctors and lawyers, and an alien came into the room. All right? They were all blown away, obviously, but they all knew it. They all believed in it. But how do they deal with life? You don't. And that's why they were having this meeting. How do you deal with life when you know everything you're dealing with is a lie? All these people, all the two names I said and all these other names, what do they know really about UFOs? Nothing. What are they going to talk about? Lies, twisted stories. The good aliens, the good aliens. Now, Nassar Harriman claims he invented the string theory. Well, he didn't. All right, but basically, I went to see him lecture in Hawaii. It was $500 for the weekend. I got in on Sunday for free. I watched the whole thing. A big ripoff. Basically, he was going on. He wanted millions of dollars. Listen to this story, and this is real. He wanted millions of dollars, and he was grabbing money from everybody to donate to this cause. He wanted to build a machine. He said he has the Ark of the Covenant. He says he has it. And he wants to link it to the one that the government has so he can change the planet's vibration. All right? Oh, he has the right to do that. But he really thinks he has the Ark of the Covenant. And he's going to link his up with the government. How did he come up with the theory to do that? Again, people, these big name speakers tell great stories. Now, Billy Myers in the 50s came out with UFOs, showing videos and stuff. But the ships went around circles over his house. He never really showed an alien. He made a fake ship, and then he had the press come out there, and they filmed it. But even his wife said it was a lot of hogwash. So, I'm not saying he didn't work with an alien, but 90% of what he created after was twisted stories and lies. Aliens aren't here to help us. And they also said, not through him, through Fred Bell, not Art Bell, said if we destroy one more of their ships, they will attack the United States. All right, and that was a long time ago. Fred Bell worked for the government. He worked on the HARP system for the government. Read his book. It's one of the second most important book in the UFO world, which nobody talks about it because he's dead. Sean David Morton's out of jail, who was on my show 2 weeks ago. Barely hanging in. They tried killing him in jail, and he's doing all right now. He has cancer, but it's frozen right now, and all those kind of things. He discovered Area 51. He should be one of the most important people in the UFO world. He was on Coast to Coast every month and everything else. But they came up with 150 lies against him, put him in jail, tortured him, and did all kinds of things to him. Had to let him go because he was dying. People, why don't we go after the people that are important in the UFO world instead of listening to the lies? John Ford, Ford. He's in Long Island in the Nut House. He shot the best video. People, why are people afraid to go to it? I'll tell you why. I was going to go see him, but I had friends in FEMA, and I was at one of the people's houses. Took me in this room. He had 45 computers, all monitoring certain words. And he said to me, well, don't try to go see him. They'll go after your family, and then they'll come after you. And at that time, I had family, and I didn't want them to go after my family. All right. People, the truth's out there, and people have it. When all these people in the UFO world, top speakers, well, nobody knows why they're doing this. Nobody knows why they're here. Yes, we do. There's only 3 things they need, or 4 things. If you don't know what they are, it's called food, blood, ovaries, and semen. That's all they need from us. Not our brain, not the way we act and teach things and do things. They give us technology that will destroy us. Tesla worked with an alien race, and he was given 200 inventions, but 50 of them are the most deadliest weapons on the planet. I can go into that whole story. I will. Not today. You need the truth, people, not stories. The government can't say what they did with aliens. Their goal is to protect the rich people. And that's what they do. I don't hold it against them. If my job was to protect this person or a bodyguard, I'd protect that person. I'm getting paid to do it. The Army and every Navy and Marines, they all get paid for a reason. To protect the United States, but not for the poor people. Not for the middle class people. Who's the one suffering with all the pain? The poor and middle class people. Who's the one that have these problems paying their rent, buying food? Those two. The rich people don't. They don't even worry about taxes. But they built underground cities. Who do you think pays for the underground cities? The rich people aren't even paying for it. We are. It's all real, people. Are you ready to deal with truth? Probably not. Oh, that's too much to think about. I got to pay my rent next week. Yeah, it's a problem. And we got these big name speakers out there making money. They get paid $20,000 to speak at a big conference. To speak what? 2 hours about what they heard? What they think? Who cares what Richard Dolan thinks? Lou Elizondo thinks that everything's drones now. Really, who cares? He said he was involved with this, that, and that. He wasn't involved with anything if he doesn't know the truth. Now, go online, people. Watch the alien interrogation. It's real. It was real. They downplayed it. Yes, they interrogated this alien for a long time. Whitney Schreiber, her friend, watched it. He was crying when he saw it. They showed him. What did they do to the alien? What did they do to the alien? Seriously. And he was abducted. And he doesn't know why or what happened, really. He wouldn't be crying about that. People, you like stories, you like entertainment, and you don't like truth. Religion's so far from the truth. Spiritualism, so far from the truth as well. All right, I was involved. I don't want to get into it in detail right now, but I worked up with Sergeant 18, where Tesla worked with DuPont. All right, they worked in an underground city. They flooded the city. The whole story. The ships were going in and out of the reservoir while the army was stationed around it for 9 months, people. All right. I don't know how much more I want to get into, but people, the truth's out there. If you want to hear it or you want to make up stories and listen to other people's stories, it's fine. You want to do something about it? Most people hear the truth and run from it. People stay in a relationship because they're afraid to leave it. Fear, everybody has fear. Here. And I said, the only thing you should fear? God, nothing else. Oh, well, God doesn't exist. Well, guess what? You're going to live in hell forever until you learn. And that usually means a lot of reincarnations. But I'm aware of all my lifetimes of reincarnating back to Atlantis. Most of them weren't good. Again, I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, I didn't kill people, but it wasn't good. It didn't help me unfold at all. You could go whole lifetime going to church. It doesn't help you unfold. And all these so-called spiritualists that come out of the woodwork, Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, claiming to be this great thing, and they know nothing about death. They know nothing about reincarnation, which should be the only thing that's important because your body's going to die. And then you're going to reincarnate or go to another reality. But you're not even aware of that, and you're going to reincarnate back here to start all over. Are you ready to go out into the world and face it where you really are? What's happening? We don't do anything good, people. Men don't create good things. They only create more toys. Bigger, faster, and better. They don't care about children. They don't care about anything else. Sports is the most useless thing on the planet, people. It takes more money from poor families and middle-class families. What, for a couple hour entertainment? And these people make millions and millions of dollars? Why? Because people are so depressed and they need 1 minute away from the thought of being on planet Earth. Aliens created a real serious problem for us, people. Give me 1 second. I got to let my little guy go. They can go. Goodbye, Gizzy. Where are you? Well, sorry about that. If you want to go, go. Go on, Mr. Giz. My dog usually stays at my feet. But, people, I've been in this all my life. I was maybe 50 feet from a UFO in the sky coming to abduct my brother. I was about 25 feet from a ship that was on the ground. I was about 10 feet from an alien with my friend. I can go into all those things. They're all real. Are they going to help us? No. Did they ever help us? No. Well, X-Files, people, every story you saw in X-Files was a real story. Do you know that? They were taken out of police files, including the second one, which was about Bigfoot. And that was down in not Vegas, sorry, in Atlantic City, New Jersey. All right. The movie, which if you didn't see it, X-Files, the movie, the first one, is close to the facts of what really went down with aliens. I told you I was friends with MJ12, one of the people, and they had honey, and that's what we were supposed to get that cures and heals all the disease. In the movie, it's all about the honey, the bees, and she gets bit by a bee. So watch the movie. That was a series, and every third or fourth one, they always went back to the aliens attacking them or chasing them and them chasing them. But that, to me, that was the important side. I mean, the self-explosion and all those things, they were the first people to put that publicly in a movie and stuff like that. But it's all real. People do explode. And all the stories were based on what actually was reported and brought to a police department and written up as a problem. But the whole UFO thing, people, who wrote the 6-part series, I'm bad with names, but they were all based on every fact he could get about aliens. So, people, when you watch movies, there's truth to them. Now, I was born when they created The Day the Earth Stood Still. All right? And it's an important movie because if they were good aliens, they would do exactly like that. Then they came out with The War of the Worlds, and it actually went into New Jersey. It was a created by Orson Welles on an album, and then they made it into a movie. I can go into a story about that because I recreated it in my neighborhood and had the whole neighborhood up in arms. But it was based on a story, and it became a movie. And that was a little bit bizarre because the aliens are walking up the Hudson River and blah, blah, blah. And people were jumping out the windows. More people died during a short radio show. And it was put on a radio show for Halloween. And only in the very beginning did they say this is a story, make-believe story. But if you tuned into the radio, in the middle or any part of it, it sounded real. Every part of it sounded real. We're in there's a ship and it's glowing and there's a ball of light, and then you hear screams. Then they go back to the press, but it was Stardust was the song and music like that, so it was a really old time thing. But they made that into a movie as well. People, everything you see is based on parts of facts. If you learn to tear the facts out of the truth, you can grow incredibly. The Bible has a little truth in it, a little truth. They don't know who Jesus was, first off. They didn't know what he was teaching in the Bible. All right? I wrote a book, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization. What he really did, what he was really doing, why his own people turned against him and helped them kill him, get him killed. All right? These stories which are based on what people think. They made Jesus God. Jesus never said he was God. Never, ever. One line in the Bible says, "Oh, I am." No, he didn't say it that way. I was alive in that lifetime. I was a female. But again, people, everything you read has a small bit of truth, and you got to pull it out. Whether it's the person's delusional, whether the person's telling a part of the truth, whatever it is, you need to find the truth in what's coming out. Lou Elizondo is making everything a lie. We don't need that. Sergio 18 and I lectured all around the United States from 96. And we were showing pictures of UFOs that we shot every week, every month, and stuff like that for 6 years. Nobody really, the people that came to our conference, Global Sciences, were all considered us the top speakers. All right. But Sergio and I went to where Tesla was working with DuPont 4 or 5 hours every other night. We shot over 1,000 pictures in the night and filmed and different things. Yes, we had more pictures of this, that, and the other thing. I wanted to give Skinwalker Ranch a technique to film UFOs during the day. Real simple. They're spending all this kind of money for spaceships and all this equipment. They just need a good camera. People, do you want the truth? This is one place, but put questions in the chat room. Text me, email me. We'll answer any question you have. Why the government can't come out and disclose everything? Think about it, common sense. They can't say, well, we sold out the United States. We're working with Russia. See, when we went into space, it was supposed to be one unity. The world was supposed to be united in space. And suddenly China became their own separate entity doing whatever they want in space. Like they filmed the base on the other side of the moon, and they barely released that, did they? I saw it 30 years ago. All right, people, I can go on, but I'm sure you're getting tired. Sure you're getting bored, overloaded, whatever words you want. People, I'm not friends with anybody in the UFO world. Sean David Morton's a good friend of mine, but he's not really active in the UFO world yet. He might get back into it. I'm afraid that they won't let him get back into it, even though his books, starting with The Sands of Time, is one of the most important books you can read in the UFO world. Seriously, not everybody's thinking this and saying that and blah, blah, blah. Read it. Sands of Time. It's a 5-part series. The first one was written for years, and then he was in jail, and then he finished a couple more and stuff. But it's important. And getting back to Fred Bell, his book is probably the most second important book in the UFO world, because he was working with Billy Meyer's Alien Friends. His company that he left with his wife, Paradigm, sells nuclear reactors. And I'm not going to zoom in on it, but if you can see that thing, the only thing right where my finger is, my hand's going the wrong way. Right there is a nuclear reactor. I put it on there. But he was selling a lot of things and medicine and everything else that he got from the alien race he was working with, Billy Meyer's Pleiadians. But they're not friendly. They're not here for us, people. If they were, they would be public. Alien races aren't going to come out and be friends with us unless they want to take control over us. All right? People are ignorant. People don't know when to step back, when to move forward, or any of that. If it sounds good, it's okay. If it doesn't sound good, it's not okay. Read the Bible. I read it from cover to cover. I was going to become a preacher, but I got to see through all the lies. Truth is, Jesus was the most spiritual person to walk this planet. Love didn't exist before Jesus came here. Did you know that? It didn't exist. Seriously. And then again, Jesus never taught about love. You can't teach love anyway. But for a religion to say he taught love, how do you teach love? Love your mother, love your father. Really? How do you do that? Because you said so, I'm going to understand it? And he didn't come here to save everybody's sorry little ass. No, he didn't. He came to teach how to get back to God, or the God worlds, which are 1,000, 100,000 times better than here. All right? You want the truth, you want to live in lies, it's up to you. I was ready to sign my life away to become a preacher. And then they said, well, you got to sign 40% of your salary over to the church. I said, no, I'll give as much as I can every day I can. But when it comes to paying my rent, I got to pay my rent. When I got to buy this, oh, well, then you don't mind giving 40%. I said, I'll give 80% when I can. But to have a set figure, God didn't tell me I have to give 40% to you. And I walked away from the church that day. I was going to church 6 days a week, 4 hours a night. People, I know the inside and outside of the truth of Jesus. If you want to know that, anytime. All these people that say they talk to God, I debated him. I said, I'd go public online, on TV with you and debate you on your lies about what God said to you. Conversation with God, really. God talks to humans for what reason? Tell everybody love's good. Everybody in the spiritual realm says love's important. It's not, people. I wish it was. And people should wish it was really true, but it's not. More people come home and kill people because their wife was cheating, their husband was cheating, whatever. More people cheat on their wives, abuse their children. Love's not the answer. And the definition of love is not loving your partner. It's loving God. And to love God, you have to know what you're loving. There's a lot of things the UFO world won't get into because aliens don't have compassion. Most of them don't have feelings and emotions. So when they abduct you, they don't care how much you're in pain. You can't move. You can't do anything about it. Go into details about that. All right, people, I went further than I wanted to go today, but Tommy Hawksblood here. I'm in Hawaii. My life's dedicated to the truth. I'll die with it as well. But I know where I'm going when I die, and that's all that matters. And you should be worried about that, because you could die tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year. And you have a clue what's going to happen after that? If you're not a bad person, it gets better. If you're a bad person, you just come back here. That's as simple as it gets, or as complicated as it gets, people. So till then, Tommy Hawksblood here. To all the people out there that want the truth, stay tuned. Friend me on YouTube. This way you'll get the links when I do a show, which is usually at least once a week with Tina. I try to do a spiritual show or two during the week. I will be doing one on the Constitution by the end of the week, hopefully. And that whole deal, what went down and all that. But people, look for the truth. Don't accept everything you hear, no matter who says it, even what I say. You need to prove things to yourself. Soul doesn't die. Soul's eternal, and that's real. But being eternal and not knowing it is useless. All right. Hawksblood1AOL.com. Skype is Hawksblood11. Anytime, people, questions, answers, whatever. Till next time.
Raise my eyes to the wild blue yonder. They can't believe what I see, and it makes me wonder why it's falling down on me. The sky